Imagine no rings of power. The rings of power of this world is fascinating because they are rings that are built in time. They are built in sound and they are built through choice. Now choice obviously in this reality is limited. The choice is either, if one take it blandly, a choice that is best for all or a choice that's not best for all. There is virtually only those two choices. Obviously you have fractional derivatives of the choice of what is not best for all, but the choice what is best for all, there is just one choice, what is best for all. And then you have many choices which is not best for all, which will be best for you at an individual basis. This is actually the design of our consciousness as it exists on earth. Consciousness and where we are in our current status of awareness and intellect in this world is based on the rings of power. These rings of power is memories that we have manifested. They are like the earrings in a tree trunk that shows the history and the time where one come from. This history is our foundation. It is our sins of the fathers. So when you are born, you are taught in the initial years of your life the history. That means the earrings, the rings of power, the reason why everything is the way it is, and you are virtually in our schooling system forced to accept it without question and to find more ways to develop the current system into something which then is claimed is better for humanity, but the very existence of the destructive nature of what is here is denied, and no self-honesty is considered, that the system can never actually become what is best for all. So within this, words are used, and words are used in their sound meaning. That means the effect they have on this world, the effect a word has on this world in its very nature is its resonance. So there is the resonance of something is the effect that this something has on something. If you look at homeopathy, a particular potency of a particular medicine is formed in terms of like cures like, and what is the actual cure effect is based on the resonance of the medicine. It is the effect that the medicine has on the likeness of itself. So you purify the likeness of itself. It's not a frequency, it is a resonance. It is not an energy, it is a resonance. Every human being will have a resonance. A resonance is what happens when you walk into a room. You will have a certain effect on the people there. That effect is not a transfer of energy, it is your resonance. It is a judgment that is formed from other people, and it is how you carry yourself as who you are, as the very existence of your nature as form, as the history of yourself and the effect you have on the world system. If you are a threat to the world system like I am, you will cause major resonant effects just in speaking, and you will be attacked by everything possible to try and stop you, because the fear that is immediately resonantly activated is that here is a real actual threat to the way things are. That means I will lose my self-interest. I can't do that. I want my self-interest. I love myself. I will fight for myself, and immediately people that has never met me and that has not even listened to the message, by the very resonance of the words I speak, would attack. Fascinatingly, you have seen that is how resonance operates. But then again, because like cures like, the very resonance will start to change them. It will drive them. That is why in many cases when somebody gets banned on the forums because they have reacted to the resonances, they would end up eventually changing, because like cures like. They will start realizing the immense propensity and the immense effectiveness of resonance of themselves, of a purification, of self-perfection. Now, within the rings of power in this world, which is all just memories, the memories are only as strong as the foundation within which context it's been implanted as a living example for the person living by the memory. So the stronger your influence in religion, for instance, over time has been memorized. You see this effectively in Islam quite a lot. It's been memorized. One will become a very strong proponent of the memories that you have placed as yourself. And those things will then cause you to do things in the context of the memories, and through time it will form more memories, and you will thus through time prove to yourself that your memories are true, and because you have proved that your memories are true, you will then eventually claim that your faith has been answered and that God answered you. You will strengthen, obviously, your will to get through the memory and to prove to yourself that your memories are true through a thing called prayer. That is like talking aloud to yourself in a way where you convince yourself that your answer is correct, regardless, obviously, of the scientific mathematical models available with which you can actually measure if the stuff that you are busy using in terms of your own self-hypnosis is in fact true or not. It doesn't really matter. But if one starts looking at, for instance, the Destiny message and the Equal Money message, and you really do research, you'll find that we have, in essence, the most advanced message possible in this world. We have taken that which is best for all from everything and we've put it together. Nothing is ever actually new on earth, because it is always based on some form of memory. And in the past, in the memories of multiple different perspectives, there are always a little bit of things, or sometimes a lot of things, like in Tao, which will indicate what would be best for all, and how one can truly love your neighbor as yourself, and how you can have a world system where all fear will be gone, because full support will be here, which will then obviously imply that all fear is based on the memory of harm. And wherever fear exists, there exists a history of harm. In an equal system, the history of harm will be forgiven, and the history of harm will be deleted, and one will act within a new memory, a memory which is best for all, and you will create new rings of power. They will no longer be based on moods or emotions or energy, which will cause your doom. They will be based on the actual movement of life, in the full understanding that if one supports each other in every way possible, and you do that consistently, trust will develop, and within that trust, one will actually develop freedom, which will imply that in the current system no freedom or freedom of speech is possible, because you can, for instance, see that freedom of speech has been misunderstood, that it is the allowance to have the freedom to abuse, and that is even allowed at all levels, which is fascinating. But anyway, so you can actually then have real freedom, because you have real trust, you have real support. A child that is born here will be born as truly a gift of life, will walk in a world where they are supported, where they are safe, and where no abuse is possible, because we have removed all abuse. Therefore, the abusers will not like what we do and what we say, because we are implying the end of their existence, and they will fight for the survival, because their survival is implied as the method of the current system through the system of capitalism, the system of conflict and war, the system of survival, where everybody fights regardless, so they can survive because they believe that because they exist, they have a right to life. That is not so. Your right to life is according to the way you live, which means you have a right to life if you support life and you do what is best for all as life. If you don't do that, you have no right to life. That is common sense. So Within this context, understand, if you look at a word like year, you'll see the hearing is the cycle of time that exists, and we measure everything, our age especially, through time. And this time is how we tie ourselves, tie me, to a system. And this system is the result of our memories, our past, and what we've done before. Therefore, self-forgiveness becomes really important if one wants to change this. But within this, you'll notice that the Y, which is similarly represented as the Y chromosome, is the point that allows one to make a choice. It gives you a crossroads, a split in the road. Initially, when you walk into this world as a child, you're innocent. That means you have no split in the road. You don't have to make a choice between what is good and what's bad, what is best for all, which is good, and what is not best for all, which is bad. You don't have to do that because you are still being trained how to make choice. And therefore you become the result of your education, the result of your family imposition. It means that which is imposed upon you resonantly, because that's all that you see, and that is what you live within, and that is what influences who you are and who you become. All of it obviously in the end quite false, because when you get to the point of making a choice, you don't even understand that to be good means to do what is best for all, and to not do what is best for all is bad. You are actually split. That which is bad, which is that which is not best for all, you are taught that that is split between good and bad. So you have a false good and bad, and therefore, as such, you're screwed. If you want to unscrew this mess, join us at Destiny. We have forums, we have life coaching, which is available for those that can't afford it. It's available for free. You can participate in the forums where you have buddies that support you, to help you to develop proper discernment about what is good and bad, so you can learn what is best for all and unlearn what you've been learned, which is the mess that currently exists in this world. Obviously, with common sense, you have to understand and realize that unless you unlearn, you'll never change, because you're the result of the rings of power. You're the result of the memories of the past, and they control who you are. You are in fact not real, and you're not living here in every moment as a living being that can be trusted to act in ways that is best for all. You are acting as a past memory which will always act for the survival of the memory, and therefore you can't be trusted. We require you to wake up from this hypnotic state of memory of the rings of power, so that you can realize why you are on earth, and why on earth the place exists where one can actually rebirth yourself. You can actually become a newborn baby, a newborn person, a newborn life form, based on your own action. And if you can birth yourself as life, what does that say about who you are? And if you can't, what does that say about who you are? Join us at Destiny.
So my perspective on this interview, which explained everything very well with regards to layers and accepting ourselves as memories, and then through that creating our resonances, and then being directed by our own resonances as the consequences of what we've already allowed about ourselves as our memories that we just keep participating in, repeating, and believing are real. That's explained really well. What I would like to add with regards to that, to bring it back to the point of understanding what layers we create, is the following. You know, often when I communicate with people about how we have allowed ourselves to, as humanity, to get where we are now, and that the correction for us to change what is here would be absolute self-responsibility on an individual level, as well as all together as one, as humanity, for everything that we've created thus far as the layers of ourselves, as the accepted nature of mankind. Our thoughts, our emotions, our feelings, our behaviors, everything that we just keep participating in because we believe it is who we are, but without considering the consequences and the outflows that it has as the reality that we create for ourselves altogether. So when I discuss this with people with regards to how we've created the reality, meaning that each one is responsible for co-creating the reality, and that self-responsibility is the key, a lot of people go into reaction, which, as Bernard refers to here, they're actually reacting on many levels and within many dimensions of themselves. They are reacting resonantly as the consequence of their own pre-design to what they are hearing me saying, or any person who, for example, communicates to them in relation to the Destiny material. And you're asking the question, many people ask the questions, but what do you mean when you say we got here and we all created this? And you know, people get very frustrated because they experience it as if we are not explaining these points enough. In this interview, you know, everything was explained very clearly, and I'm going to add my perspective on the point of the rings, the layers, where if you clearly look at what I'm saying here, without allowing your mind to go off and attach itself to any belief that you already have, and bringing it here immediately as a filtering system to what I'm saying, and just hear what I'm saying, you will see what I'm saying. Throughout time, as humanity, we have never done what is best for all. We have never made decisions about what we will allow as society, as humanity, according to walking step-by-step principles that would never allow us to create a world system that abuses ourselves and each other and nature and the animal kingdom. We never made that decision. As the human developed, and we developed to the industrialized revolution and the capitalist system and the evolution of man into a thinking, feeling, wanting, needing, desiring organic robot, as we got to that point, we only advanced ourselves according to self-interest, according to what each one desires to experience for this lifetime. And parallel to that, you could say, the founding of the capitalist system, it was made easy, and you could say it was prioritized for each human to seek what they desire for this lifetime, what makes them feel good, while selling that to the next person who wants to have the ultimate experience. So we went from simply, from the beginning, wanting to feed ourselves, have water, have a roof over our heads, to starting to experience other human experiences such as emotions, feelings, desires, wants, the ego, self-empowerment, power over others, self-enhancement, and all that kind of stuff. Now, that all originated in the human mind as consciousness, as energetic experiences that was experienced by the human, that was originally and still is not understood, but was given a definition of spirituality, of God created it this way, not ever considering that what we were giving permission to and the path that we were taking as humanity was to sort of go for a free fall down the road of, what the hell, I'm experiencing this, it feels good, I'm going to call this human nature and I'm going to say God created it this way, I'm going to accept it. And in this, we started the long journey of layering the future of humanity. And here we are now, in 2011, and what you are seeing on the news, on the internet, as what humanity has become is not a pretty picture. Most people that we communicate with have extensive personality layers, of which most of those personality layers, admittedly, each human can say, I know that I have a tendency towards anger or depression or jealousy or laziness or fear. I know that cannot really be who I am, because if I am being taught by any spiritual institution in this world that I'm the image and likeness of a God or a creator, or there's a higher self to me, or there is a more developed, highly developed, fully functional me, then surely that cannot be who I am. And most religions will agree that that is surely the God self or the higher self that we should technically be working towards. For most people who say that religion is not valid, can still agree on the one point, which is, surely if I'm here on this planet and I can see that around me there are fully functional human beings who are able to support themselves, they're not hung up on desires and wants and addictions and fears, they can live in this physical reality with themselves, with others, they can direct themselves, they can make decisions, they can do in every moment what is supportive and best for themselves. And I can look at that kind of human being and I can go, wow, that guy or that lady, they're pretty cool. I wonder what they did in their lives, or I wonder how their parents raised them, for them to be so stable and like, you know, they just move through life and they're not directed or controlled by any particular outside force. They appreciate themselves, they have self-value, and they're here in their body and they enjoy themselves in the physical and they live their lives. And you can look at that, and even if you're not coming at it from a spiritual perspective, you can look at someone like that and go, wow, that's a pretty stable human being. I sort of look at that and I can appreciate that. So whatever your philosophy or belief or religion is, whatever, even if you're an atheist or any philosopher type person who doesn't have any kind of claim, you don't have any kind of belief, you still surely can observe your own fears and addictions and things, and you can look at another human being and go, wow, I wish I could overcome my fear of this or my addiction to that, just like that person. So what I'm saying is that, you know, throughout time, we have layered ourselves to accept human nature as being flawed, accepting human nature as being incomplete, and that we have to wait for a God or some afterlife experience to cleanse us. And what has happened throughout time with regards to the layering process is we have sold the human experience. We have taken this desire to have the ultimate experience, and we have labeled it, and we have attached a price to it, and we can sell it. So whether it is food or clothing or beauty or sex or any kind of form of entertainment or a car or whatever, we now try and buy our happiness as a feeling. We've now come to accept the human experience as being our emotions and feelings as energetic experiences that we go into, and then we crash, and then we go into it, and we've always got to try and do something to get back to that happiness polarity so we don't have to experience sadness. And with that was placed the price tag. The capitalist system had to make money, so what did people do? People sold happiness, because other people believed, as the human experience, I must accept myself as a polarity system of happy, sad, beautiful, ugly, and so forth. So all of these human experiences were categorized and sold, and now this is what we have become as humanity, as a spiraling towards the self-destruction. I mean, look at it for yourself and remove any filters just for a moment to hear what I'm saying. What are we spiraling towards? You know, I could ask you, as the person listening to this interview perhaps, to remove your filters and to actually, you tell me, what do you see us existing as in another 1,000 years? If you take the compounding and the layering that we've already done for the last how many thousands of years, and you times that to another 1,000 years down the line, where do you think we're going to be? Where do you think we're going to accept human nature? We're already accepting rape, the institution of war, the capitalist system to be able to sell anything to anybody. If we're already saying, oh well, you know, these things are just, they're in our society now, and they, you know, they exist, and because we accept the smaller things, we have so layered, the human experience? Absolutely, because, I mean, look at the smallest things that we have accepted. Even if you, as the human, if we accept the smallest secret mind thought, I wish I could have sex with that girl, that in itself spirals outward into the sex industry that exists today, where you not only have pornography and people walking around with desires in their minds, where they're having picture mind sex with the woman walking past, but you're having child abuse. You are having the mind of the person who is addicted to anime porn. You have the person who's addicted to bestiality. You have the person who can only get off on pain and things like that. And that is consciousness as it layers itself through pictures and energetic addictions. And therefore, by saying, oh, but you know, this small little thing, it's just the human nature. You are giving, and we have always given permission to the spiraling out of the human mind to what it is now. Because by allowing the small things, as those little secret things in society that we allow on each other, we are allowing the mindset of the bigger things to exist within our society, because all of it is based on starting with a small thing. Just look at it for yourself. The small things are based on your energetic addiction to having a certain experience, to feeling good. Therefore, the guy who is going out and raping girls is doing it from the same mindset. And why not? I mean, over the past couple of 100 years, it started out with a guy going, hey, I don't like my wife's body anymore. This is just an example. I'm looking at that girl on the street and boom, flash, a picture, her naked. Whoa, whoopsie. In the Victorian era, that would have been taboo. And now today, that's like nothing. That's like accepted. That's like, you know, you almost looked at as if there's something wrong with you if you don't admit, yeah, look at that chick. Oh, look at that guy. So we have come to accept as humanity, and some people are not stopping with regards to, if you exist in a society where from young you are witnessing the minds of those around you, allowing themselves to layer and layer what they can become addicted to and what pictures they can look at and what ideas they can create with the mind. Remember, the mind as imagination based on the addiction to energy is limitless. You can picture, right now, you can picture, if I say to you the word sex, you can picture anything. You can combine any one picture with another picture. And that gives you a certain energetic kick. It could give you that, it could not, depending on your own pre-programmed design. So we, as humanity, have allowed the human mind as consciousness, as energy, to get to this point where all of us exist within the mind as pictures, as energetic addictions, in some layer or another of ourselves. And therefore, the point that we keep reiterating here is the point of self-responsibility, self-purification, to not sit and wait for a God to come and cleanse these layers. We have to do it. A God is not coming to save us. Jesus, Allah, Buddha, Satan, the pixies are not coming to fix us. We have created these layers over how many hundreds of years. We have to walk backwards in time. The only difference is that we as humanity have not, A, recognized that we have created the current world situation as it is due to the layers that we've given permission to within ourselves, therefore in each other, therefore as society, as what is sold to us in the money system. So if we start there by stop looking at the skies or down in the pits of hell, I don't know where you look, to waiting for something to fix this, and realizing that, yes, it maybe is your one lifetime here, but you are also leaving generations of children. So imagine if things are really bad now, in 1,000 years, your generation, how are those children going to live in this world that is then going to exist as the 1,000th layer of what you and I are accepting now, and you and I exist in the layers of what was accepted so many hundreds of layers ago. And I think it's actually pretty cool that we are given the opportunity. It's pretty painful that we are realizing now where we are at with regards to looking around us and seeing that we are the product, we are the resonance, we are the consequence of what we've allowed so far, what we've programmed as ourselves, as our physical, as our water, as our thinking. But it is pretty painful, and for most, they don't want to give up their addiction to this world, to what you buy, to what you eat, to what you love, to what you desire. But if we want to not create a times 1,000 layered outcome for the future generations, which you can mathematically work out right now for yourself, if you don't want to create that, and you don't want your legacy to be what it is now times 1,000, then I suggest we work on ourselves and become that person that I was speaking about in the beginning, where you look at others and you go, wow, look at that guy, he's pretty clear, he's very effective. You can be that. I have come from being a self-destructive person, extensive depression, extensive self-hate. I was going down a path of self-abuse where I was going to end up dead. And I, through the assistance of the people of Destiny, found the tools of self-honesty, self-forgiveness, and for many years worked with that one point that I saw in another, the self-purification that they applied to become an effective human being here in the physical. And I saw that and I was like, wow, I don't want to die. I don't want to end up in a mental hospital or become a druggie. I want to be like that person because I want to live here fully, enjoy myself in the physical. I don't want the headaches and the pain and all that stuff any longer. And I started applying the tools, and it took me years to walk the tools, and will take so many years. I don't care what it takes, because it's irrelevant. I mean, what I've already created as myself, and through my DNA, my parents, through my own childhood, what I accept and allowed as the layers of me, I have to walk that backwards in time and clear that and become more effective. And it doesn't matter. It is what it is. And saying it is what it is relevant from a certain perspective. But what is happening in society is that we are all saying, oh well, it is what it is. You know, somebody will fix it. So I'm saying, yes, it's relevant, but also not, it's not something that is to be abused and used as a justification of why we as humanity must not take self-responsibility for ourselves. I'm saying you make the decision and you walk that decision, and it is what it is. It is what you walk. It is who you are. It is you as the principle, as life. He has the physical. And we walk it together, and we will find support within each other and ourselves as a group, as humanity. There's nothing to be feared. One of the biggest fears that people have about changing and about being the change that is necessary is the fear of being alone, the fear that you are going to lose something, the fear that the system will reject you, that you will not be able to survive financially. If we stand together as a group, as we are now doing already as a large group, the support is there. We support each other, we talk, we have our chats, we have our forums where we support each other in applying the tools, and we work together in bringing forth solutions so that everybody can walk the change as themselves. And not just that, but to bring about a financial solution so that we can stop living to survive, but actually live here to live. So all of those aspects are important. And at Destiny, we are implementing and have implemented many of those steps to give people the opportunity to be able to walk and change and breathe and support themselves, and not have to exist in this constant acceptance of ourselves as what we have become. Thank you very much.